The Will of the Many by James Islington. The story begins with a fractured, traumatic memory. A boy named Vis dangles from a cliff, held only by his father's blood-slicked hand. His father whispers courage, and then lets go. This memory haunts Vis, now a young man working as a guard at Letton's prison, under the watch of his craggy-faced, aging colleague, Hrolf. Their quiet shift is interrupted by the arrival of Sextus Hospius, a tall, handsome man with a shaven head and a commanding presence. He carries an urgent access seal from Proconsul Manius himself, seeking to question a prisoner in the deep cells. This, unnerved by Hospius's affected ease, escorts him down into the prison's damp, foul-smelling lower levels. Here, long-term prisoners are strapped to Sappers, mirror-polished white slabs that perpetually drain their will, their life force and energy, leaving them in a state of living death. Hospius, horrified by the sight, reveals he has never seen a Sapper before. They proceed to the cell of Nateo, a gaunt man with a hawk-like visage. This winches Nateo up, breaking his connection to the Sapper. Hospius begins to question the prisoner in Vetuzan, a dead language. This, secretly fluent from his upbringing, feigns ignorance while listening intently. Hospius speaks of a man named Viridius and asks Nateo about another named Caror, mentioning cryptic terms, the obitium, the lucium, and a gate with strange power from before the cataclysm. Nateo, however, refuses to speak until he is freed. Desperate, Nateo suddenly lunges, grabbing Hospius and attempting to pull him onto the Sapper. This reacts instantly, shoving himself between the two men. In the chaos, Vis's hands make direct contact with the slick surface of the Sapper. A sickening tingle shoots through him, but he scrambles away unharmed, a feat that should be impossible. Shaken, Hospius thanks Vis, discreetly paying him for his silence about the incident and about his observation of Hrolf's deteriorating mind. Later, Vis overhears Hospius inquiring about him with Hrolf, who praises Vis's intelligence and skill at the strategy game Foundation. This unwanted attention unnerves Vis, who has spent years cultivating an unremarkable persona. His shift over, Vis leaves the prison and makes his way through the twisting streets of Lettons to the theater, an illegal fighting arena run by the formidable Septimus Elonher. She informs him that tonight, as a punishment for winning too often against Septimi, he will face a much more powerful Sextus. The fight is unwinnable, a public chastisement. This, seeing no way out, negotiates for triple pay and places a risky bet with the bookkeeper, Goffred, that he will last longer than 1 minute, but less than 90 seconds. In the fight, this, naked and greased to prevent being grappled, faces an imposing and arrogant Sextus. He evades his opponent, surviving the first minute through sheer agility. Goaded by the Sextus's cruel words about his orphaned past and the scars on his back, Vis's buried rage explodes. In a blur of cold fury, he unleashes a brutal, calculated assault, beating the heavily favored Sextus into unconsciousness. The victory brings stunned silence, not cheers. To protect the theater from hierarchy scrutiny, Elonher publicly declares Vis a cheat and banishes him. This returns to the orphanage run by the cruel matron Atrox just before dawn. He hides his earnings and a stolen travelogue containing maps of distant islands, a potential escape route. He is immediately confronted by the matron, who informs him that a Quintus is arriving at noon to adopt a child
an unprecedented event. This is ordered to prepare the other children and then stay out of sight. To his horror, he soon realizes the visiting Quintus is none other than Sextus Hospius, who now introduces himself as Quintus Ulciscor Telimus. Ulciscor singles Vis out for a private interview. He reveals he is a Magnus Quintus, a powerful senator, and that his visit to the prison was a sanctioned deception. He knows Vis touched the Sapper and survived, and he knows Vis understands Vitusian. He has a theory. This is immune because he has never undergone the rite at an aurora columnae, the ritual that enables a person to cede their will. Ulciscor offers Vis a way out of his inevitable future in a Sapper, adoption, and a place at the prestigious Catenan Academy, the one place in the Republic where the use and ceding of will is forbidden. In return, this must act as his spy. His target is the Academy's principalis, Quintus Viridius Julii, a man Ulciscor suspects of treason involving pre-cataclysm ruins on the island of Solavagus, and of murdering Ulciscor's own younger brother, Caeror, 6 years ago. Trapped, this agrees. They depart immediately. At the edge of the city, they board a transvect, a colossal will-powered vessel that hovers in the air. As they journey towards the Academy, Ulciscor reveals more about his suspicions. The trip is cut short when an explosion rips through the front of the transvect. Ulciscor, with impossible strength, grabs Vis and leaps from the burning, falling vessel into the forest below. They survive the fall and make their way to the crash site, where they find a group of men picking through the wreckage. Ulciscor confronts them, and when their leader lies, he kills him instantly with an imbued object. The standoff is interrupted by an arrow flying from the trees, striking Ulciscor in the leg, causing him to collapse unconscious. The shooter is revealed to be Sedotia, the mysterious girl from the theater. She is an Anguis, a rebel, and she knows this is true name, Diago. She reveals the Anguis orchestrated the transvect attack to recruit him, having known his identity for over a year. She demands he join them, threatening to expose his true identity to the Senate if he doesn't meet her in Catane in 1 month. As more Anguis arrive, this, choosing the devil he knows, manages to drag the unconscious Ulciscor back to the damaged front cabin of the transvect and get it airborne, escaping just as the rebels converge.
This awakens in the Academy infirmary. He meets 3 other students, the charming Emissa, the reserved Indal, and the sharp-tongued Belly, before being confronted by the man he believes to be the physician, who questions him about the attack. The physician is then joined by Ulciscor, who reveals the man's true identity, the Quintus Viridius Julii, the principalis of the Academy, and the very man Vis is here to spy on. The next 2 months are spent at Villa Telimus, Ulciscor's estate, in a grueling training regimen under the tutelage of the stern eyeless Sextus Lanistia and the aloof dispensator Cadmos. Lanistia, who lost her sight in the same incident that killed Caeror, pushes Vis relentlessly in physical combat and labyrinth training. Cadmos, a proscribed former academic, drills him in history, philosophy, and hierarchy law. In the meantime, Vis is assigned stable duty as a penance and finds an unlikely friend in Emissa, who helps him with his chores. He learns from Ulciscor that Lanistia and Caeror were in love and that her memories of the events surrounding his death are gone. Upon his return to the Academy, he is placed in Class 7. His first day ends in a fight with a 6th named Eden Braek, whom Vis defeats with a single punch. For punishment, he is again assigned stable duty. He forms an unexpected friendship with the brilliant but ostracized Calidus Eresius, who chooses to remain in Class 7 for political reasons.
and also with the stoic Eden, to whom he begins teaching common. This skill, particularly in the labyrinth, is undeniable, and he is quickly promoted to Class 6, then 5, and finally 4, where he must contend with the open hostility of Preceptor Dutatus and the rivalry of other students. His refusal to cede will, his mysterious past, and his heroism at the Naumachia make him an object of both fear and fascination. The Judicium, the Academy's final and most grueling test, begins. The 6 members of Class 3 must each choose 2 lower-class students to form a team and retrieve an object, the heart of Jovan, from a remote guarded location on the island. The rules are complex, allowing for betrayal and elimination. This chooses Calidus and Eden, but Eden mysteriously refuses. This then selects Aqua Claudius, a sharp and ambitious 4th, who had previously accused him of cheating. Their team is ambushed early by Iro and Belli. This and Calidus are captured, and Aqua seemingly betrays them to join the opposing team. However, Aqua later returns, having tricked Iro and Belli, and frees them. Together, they discover a mass grave containing the bodies of the Sexti, who were supposed to be acting as safety teams, along with several eliminated students. It becomes clear the Judicium has been infiltrated by Anguis assassins. This, feeling a strange, new ability to sense the presence of others, leads his team to warn the others. He confronts Indal and then goes after Emissa, whom he finds at the tower where the heart of Jovan is kept. There he is attacked by a powerful Anguis Sextus. Emissa intervenes, killing the man with an obsidian dagger, but then, her eyes turning black with will, she demands the heart from this. When he gives it to her, she stabs him, sending him falling from the tower. Miraculously, the heart of Jovan flies back into Vis's hand as he falls, and he is saved from the river below by the massive Alupi he had once helped. Wounded, but alive, he makes his way back to find Calidus mortally wounded by another Anguis. This carries his dying friend back to the Academy, arriving just as the Judicium ends. He places the heart of Jovan back in its rightful place, winning the contest and becoming Domador, before collapsing. He awakens days later in the infirmary to a horrifying discovery. His left arm has been amputated to stop a strange rot. He has a surreal fever-induced vision of his father, who comforts him and urges him to keep fighting. When he is fully lucid, Viridius reveals that Vis's blood has been tainted by his experience in the pre-cataclysm ruins. The Senate committee arrives to record his choice of post-graduation assignment. Torn between escaping the hierarchy and fighting it from within, Vis makes a fateful decision. He renounces his chance to flee to a post in Jatier and instead declares, "I want to work for the censor." As he recovers, he finds a small, hand-carved wooden ship by his bed, a toy he made as a child, with his true name, Diego, etched on the inside, a silent message of hope and identity in his darkest hour.